Hi, you're listening to the Non-Trinary Podcast. My name's Leo. My pronouns are he, him.
Hi, my name is Kay, and my pronouns are they, them.
As you can probably tell, Billie is not with us, but they will be joining us soon when they're feeling a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. It's just two of us for now.
It's two of us, and we have cameras on this time because
we do. Why the hell not?
We both showered and did our hair.
I know, absolutely, for the first time in quite a while.
It's worth it though.
It's worth it. It's great. It's having a great time.
About today.
So we kind of just thought it would be a great time to just update everybody on what is going on, what's going on in our lives, because we've not done one of these for quite a while. So yeah, just kind of get each other caught up, get you guys caught up. So yeah, we just thought it would be a fun time just to chill and chat.
Yeah, and also just to have a bit of positivity with everything that's going on at the moment in the world.
Our theme for this week is a little bit heavy, so we were like, we'll leave that for now. We'll leave it.
We'll leave it till next week or
next another time.
Exactly. So what have you been up to?
Yeah. Oh God. So yeah, I've written a list. They don't really come in any particular order, so I'm just gonna pick them off the list and we'll go that way. So yeah, sex ed happened.
Oh my gosh, I know.
So yeah, for some people who don't know, I appeared as like a featured supporting artist in one of the scenes. So it was like the classroom scene in episode 2. I was in between, I think it's Top Heavy Steve and then Viv. So I was there in like the white jumper. That's me, if you noticed. And yeah, that was kind of it was a great experience, really. We shot on my university's old campus. It was my first experience of being a supporting artist as well. So it's like having that. And that was my first day as well, filming that scene, which was so strange. Kind of being like you treated a bit better if you've got a feature, so you're kind of like, yeah, you guys go first. And because I was coming in it as a non-binary actor, they knew that I was non-binary as well. They kind of treated me even better, really. The costume department did a fantastic job. They kind of made sure that I had like a separate changing space, so they were like, just go and use the toilets. And they were like, yeah, you can kind of wear what you want, what feels comfortable, just tell us and we'll adapt it. And there's another person in that scene as well who is also a trans person. So he goes to Cardiff University. He's one of their co-presidents for their society, and that's kind of how we met as well. So we kind of like, he kind of like was like, "Oh my God, that's you! I've been trying to get in touch with you for ages." I was like, "Oh my God, how like random and out there." But yeah, it was just absolutely like incredible first day on set. And then yeah, it came out. They released the bloopers this week as well, which is hilarious to see. But yeah, I think it's just a really good show, and I just hope that if they get round to shooting season 3, that there is a trans character or there is a non-binary character, because that's the one thing that is kind of like missing. I think has been missing from it, is that it's like, I mean, we had a sexual rep this season and that was like wonderful. And it's just the fact that they've got so many, like, I say so many, there's like a few of us who are trans in the essay like cohort. But it'd just be great if one of us, like Hugo, one of the speaking artists, he's trans, and he's managed to get like recurring lines. Like, he was heavily featured in the adverts. Like, he was really put in focus, and it'd just be really great if they actually said like, look, this person is trans and we want to tell like that part of the story. So yeah, I think that took up most of my last year, which it kind of like took up most of like June, July, August, and then it kind of fizzled off from there as they were reshooting, because I was just so busy I just couldn't get to any of the later shoots. But yeah, that was kind of a big part of last year and then into January. But yeah, anything with you?
Well, on that note, I remember when you told me you were in sex education, and then when the episodes came out, me and my partner Ruth were purposely going through
Yeah,
every single scene with like a spectacle,
yeah,
trying to like point you out and stuff. So that was fun to like as soon as your face came on in the scene, I was like, oh my
yeah,
god! Pause it, take loads of photos, send them to you because I was
yes.
like so happy. I was like, oh my god, my
It's
friend.
great as well, like realizing like the scenes that we were in, and then kind of like finally getting the context for those scenes, because a lot of them they're shot like so badly out of order, and then it's like you finally get to piece together the bits that you've heard and the bits that you like try not to laugh at, because oh my god, those actors are hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's just like getting that first insight into that job, which I think was so great and so much fun.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
you're in season 3. That'd be
I
great.
know, fingers crossed. Well, who knows? We'll see.
But yeah, definitely they do need a main character
Yeah,
that's
they
trans
do.
binary. Like that would be
It's the one thing that's kind of like lacking from it. They've not
yeah,
really had those discussions, and it's a great platform to have those discussions, especially if they've had an intimacy consultant on the set, like they've had all of these people who've been informing the story and making sure that it's accurate. So hopefully they'll kind of go down the right way and make sure that everyone's okay with it.
yeah, exactly. Well, for my turn, I am 8 months on testosterone this month. I think the last time everyone heard my voice, I think I just started, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
So my voice sounds a tiny bit different, but and more excitingly, last night I had a top surgery consultation with Dr. Nishaw, who's in Hull,
Fuck
and
yeah.
he actually gave me a date for my top surgery, which is in October 27th, 2020. So I have 6 months until
Yes.
surgery.
Oh, it's so exciting.
It's the biggest news that I've got. And me and my partner cracked open some Prosecco last night that we've been saving, and we made Bucks Fizz.
Yes.
And I got quite drunk, and it was great.
Yes.
So, and I
Yes.
video called loads of my friends, including
Hmm.
you.
Yes. After a
Um,
fire alarm.
yeah, and it was just a good old time, and
Oh, it's great.
it doesn't feel
So exciting.
real.
Yeah. Get
Like,
that.
yeah, I know a lot of trans mask people or trans men who've had top surgery have like been like it doesn't feel real, and then they just say like, oh, the time goes by so quickly, and then it's
Mm.
here, and then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, so I need to like start like doing a list of what I'm gonna pack,
Yeah.
uh, what I'm gonna do to like organize myself. I'm probably gonna take Animal Crossing because that's all I've been doing when I
Yeah,
sit down
absolutely.
recently.
Just sit there and game.
Exactly. So yeah, for you?
Yeah. So yeah, I think the next thing is, I think the last time we recorded it, I was just going into my presidency. I can't quite remember, but yeah, I'm still the president of the LGBT Society, and I still like doing 3 jobs alongside that. So it's and then obviously because of all the shutdowns, because we're like in the middle of basically the apocalypse. No, not really. We were in the middle of the COVID-19 outbreak. So all the universities have shut. It's still that kind of like, how do we maintain that contact? But also we've got to sort out our annual general meeting as well. So it's making sure that we get the news out. Like hopefully we'll try and release something late this week, either next week, just to let people know what's going on. That we're still going to be looking for people to run the society, because I've got a new job. So I got elected as the welfare officer for my student union. So hopefully in June, I'll take over that. Well, I go into training for that, and then I take over in July. So then, yeah, that's kind of the new adventure. Really, it's something that I've known that I've wanted it for a couple of years, and then I think this year's kind of the right time for it to happen. Hopefully, obviously, we're still in lockdown right now. We've like our university said there's going to be no lectures until August now. So it's kind of looking at how we plan for the year, how we look at events going forward, what a world post lockdown is going to look like, what a freshers post lockdown is going to look like. So yeah, it's kind of all of those questions and trying to plan as like diversely as possible and as accessible as possible as well. So yeah, that's like exciting news for
It's
all of
amazing.
us. Yeah.
Like so good.
It was cool
Like
because it was like I think it was about halfway through the campaign as well. So we had the campaign meeting on the Friday, and we went into lockdown on the Tuesday. So it was I was at work, I was at the university on the Monday, and I was in the office with all of the team. We were there on the Friday, and they were keeping an eye on all of the other universities locally, seeing what they were releasing. And we went into work Monday, and we were sent home on Tuesday. So it was then like it's then as well because I work two jobs. So I work at Tesco and I work at the student union. It's having that half of your life completely shut down, but also the other half of your life completely still going.
yeah.
That was really odd, and getting used to that and kind of being like, oh, damn, for some of these people, I won't see them again because they'll all graduate. And because for a lot of them, that was their last time of seeing each other. And they won't get to have that. And that's like, it's really sad. And it's as well as looking at how they will do graduation in this kind of
Yeah.
in this scenario and how will they go about that. They've not said anything as of yet. But yeah, it's kind of like looking at how we adapt and how we move forward. But yeah.
Well, similarly, yeah, I'm doing a master's at the moment. So I can relate for everything being cancelled and
Yeah.
everything being moved online. And well, they've cancelled all summer graduations. I go to Swansea University.
Yeah.
Um, and well, my graduation is in December, so I'm
Yeah, same. We're not too sure yet.
like, who knows? Because obviously all the summer graduations have been cancelled. They don't know when those graduations are going to be, so maybe they'll be in December and then mine will be pushed
Yeah.
back. Like there's like it's just no one knows what's going on.
No one
Like,
knows. Yeah.
and my master's is just I'm doing a dissertation at the moment. So I'm doing it on the representation of the trans community in UK news media, which is going to be fun.
Great
Um,
time.
Great times. I'll be doing a survey and sharing that on my Twitter at some point, so peeps can sign it and
Woo.
join in. That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like finding the motivation to do work and
Yeah. Absolutely. And to kind of carry on from home.
exactly, it's like surreal because like me and my partner live in like in the city, but in like a little sectioned off place. So there's quite a lot of shops across the road.
Yeah.
Um, and on a Friday and Saturday when everything was normal, it had become like the place to be on nights out and stuff because lots of
Yeah.
bar clubs were opening up here. So going from that to now, where on a Friday and a Saturday it's absolutely dead and everything is shut except Tesco's and Sainsbury's, like the
Yeah.
little shops. It's so surreal and bizarre.
Hmm.
Like it's
Yeah.
crazy and it just doesn't feel real, especially having to queue outside a small
Mm.
corner shop and having to be let in like two at a time.
Yeah.
And like deliveries, like food deliveries, like not getting handed to you, like being placed on the floor.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's just so bizarre, but it's great that it's happening and everything is
Mm.
everything's running smoothly. It's just being stuck inside and
Mm.
it's
So
just
this is like my first week off that I've had in well since Christmas basically. So it's kind of like now adapting to that life of what everybody else has been experiencing who
yeah.
isn't a key worker. So it's that kind of like um, just doing nothing and trying not to have that guilt about it as well, and try not to force creativity.
Yeah.
And it's then like going back to normal. And I was at the start of this doing a lot of overtime, just because I was like, well, the money's there, they're desperate for people. But then it was then kind of realizing, like, I was exhausted after 3 9-hour days, and I was like, usually this doesn't, like, it doesn't tire me at all, but it's all the extra mental energy that you have to put into thinking about protecting yourself, protecting everybody else, and making sure that like everything's running smoothly. And because like I'm a stock controller as well, so that means like going through all the products, making sure that you're keeping up your own hygiene, but also making sure that like you're staying away from other people. Like it kind of it halts the normal routine of your job. So it's usually you would follow a route around the store, and then it's like, well, actually, if your aisle suddenly becomes busy, you've got to move. It's on you to kind of take up that responsibility and move elsewhere. And it's just it's a lot. And it's as well kind of like making sure that customers follow that as well. It's almost like you've got to have eyes in the back of your head, which is what was the most exhausting thing about it. But yeah, hopefully um, it'll just become more streamlined as we go, and yeah, we'll kind of learn from where we are.
I hope so, because I received a letter last week. I am vulnerable because I have asthma,
Mm,
but I already knew that, obviously. Um, but I had like an official letter and a call from my GP being like, yeah, you need to be self-isolating, and you have to be self-isolating for 12
shit,
weeks
yeah,
and this stuff, which I already had been doing. I think I've been
yeah,
quarantining for like a month now.
yeah,
Um, but still to have that in writing being like, yes, you have to stay
yeah.
inside for 12 weeks. It's like scary, but
It's a
also
lot,
it
yeah.
is a lot because like usually when everything was normal, I was so introverted. Like I
Mm,
barely ever wanted to leave my house,
yeah,
and I was just doing everything that everybody else is doing right now, like video gaming and
mm,
not seeing people. So to go from that and now I'm kind of like I want to see people, I want to give
yeah,
people hugs, I want to hang out with people, I want to go outside, I want to go to the beach, I want to go to a cafe.
yeah.
Like I
It's all
think
that like
it's
forbidden
turning me
stuff.
into an extrovert. It's turning me into an
Yeah,
extrovert. Like yeah.
very
So
much. It's that like actually going out to work and like just seeing the co-workers that you've become friendly with, and seeing like all of those people,
uni
it you
friends.
do, yeah, you do realize like how reliant you become on that routine, and how like actually I can be around people for this much time. I just need that time to recharge and like look after myself. And that's kind of, it's enlightening. And it's been like, actually, this is how I function, and this is how I know how I
Yeah.
function. um oh, sorry, itchy nose. But yeah, I have had that thing where I was like, my asthma isn't very mild, and technically I'm not really diagnosed with it anymore. So it's that kind of like, actually, technically I am healthy enough, so I will keep doing what I'm doing. I just got to make sure that I take care of me and
Yeah.
take those like matters into my own hands, which I have been doing. Because like there was talks of me going home, like going back to Stoke, which I was like, oh, it was because when it happened, I was at work when the first initial news broke of potentially having to isolate. And so it's that like, it's that disconnect of being like we found out when we were at work that we were going on to lockdown. And it's that,
Yeah. Hmm.
it was that thing of being like in the middle of stacking shelves, and in the middle of refilling, and in the middle of tidying up, and then you're kind of like, oh shit, like everything stopped,
Oh
like.
no.
And then then having the conversations with my managers being like, look, if Uber goes down, if the taxi ranks go down, I'm not going to be able to get here. And it's kind of like looking at that, because we weren't in no position to understand what was going on. And like my manager was like, why don't you just call Uber? And I'm like, that's not how it works. Like,
Definitely
it's
not.
not how it works.
No.
But thankfully, like, they're still running, and luckily I can still like get to work and back. um but it is that kind of like, you're completely in the dark. And I was like, had like quite a big anxiety attack, like when it first happened, because obviously you're at work, you can't sit down and get the full lot of information. You're just going off what is coming up on the news alerts, which is not a lot of information. And then it's kind of like getting it secondhand from other people. And so yeah, it was that kind of like initial panic of that first week of being like, oh shit, like everything is gonna change and everything is gonna, like, it's not gonna be the same again,
Oh,
which
definitely
is
not.
like a lot. But yeah.
But yeah, and lastly, like what's been
Hmm.
affected me because of everything.
Yeah.
I was doing a module on my course called Video and
Hmm.
Documentary, and my friend decided that they wanted to do a documentary about my transition. So we filmed loads of bits, and we were really excited because we were going to include all sorts of topics like my voice progression, um, talking about like personal things like family members not being
Mm.
accepting in certain things. And because of obviously of everything going on with coronavirus,
Mm.
um, my deadline was just rushed. So we
Yeah.
had to literally rush to get a rough cut together. So we did not take the time,
Yeah.
did not get that time to do it properly.
Yeah.
So the
Hmm.
film was just rushed and put together and just so it could be submitted.
Yeah.
Um, so it will be coming out at some point.
Nice.
It will be properly edited because
Hmm.
I now have the time to do it. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
it's great. So I will share that at some point. But for other things, controversial things that have happened on Twitter recently, what's happened?
Yes, so the basically I was photographed as part of an exhibition, because I'm just like, hell yeah, free photographs. And I've worked with this photographer before, so I know that like the work that she produces is good. And we've definitely got that kind of like, I'll just do what she says, we'll get some nice photos. And so we took an initial lot of pictures back in December, and so she was kind of telling me about the exhibition. She didn't really give me much information. She was just like, yeah, so it's going to be building on what we did before. We're going to be bringing you as the focus of it, so we'll get pictures of the other people, but you're very much the focus of it, and it'll be looking at how far you've come since the last one. So I was like, that's cool. I sent her the copy then, so I sent her like the information that I wanted her to include about me. Um, and then and then she said, actually, what we want to do is we want to reshoot. We want to get some just ones in a different environment because they didn't really work. So we reshot those, I think, in February. And then she gave me, actually, it might have been January. And then she gave me the invitation for the exhibition. And so this exhibition is called Every Woman. And I was like, hang on. So I've been photographed as part of an exhibition, and the people putting on the exhibition are like a photography company or photography like collective that celebrates female photographers. I'm like, that is amazing. Like, I love that. I love your vision. Like, go for it. But also the fact that this exhibition was for International Women's Day, and that um, the content and the people who were being featured were also women. And I'm like, hang the hell on. Like, I am not, I've said it in the copy, like I said it everywhere, like it's every single like social media, it says that I am not a woman. And I was used in the promotional material for the exhibition, so it was me. And so it's the image that my photographer took, and then another image that another photographer took of a person of colour. So they were used, and so they basically just picked the most diverse faces, obviously, and then put us on all of the promotion. And it was like every woman, this exhibition at the Senate. Um, and yeah, it was very much like, I don't think it hit me until because it went up on the Wednesday of, I can't quite remember when, but it went up on the Wednesday, and then a tweet went out on the Friday from the tour company belonging to the Senate. So they were like, join us on this International Women's Day tour where we look at the women photographers and their women subjects. And I was like, oh shit. And then I realised that I've been publicly misgendered.
Gendered.
I've publicly had my face put against this word that I don't use, and it's that, like, as well as the fact that it had already been up for a few days before I'd managed to see it. So, like, it went up on the Wednesday, this tweet went out on the Friday, and then Twitter happened. So I kind of, I put out an initial tweet, and then I was like, so this exhibition's misgendered me. And luckily, someone kind of who's got a bit of influence, somebody was like, what's gone on, can I help? And they managed to get it all sorted. So luckily, because of them and because of their influence, they managed to get everything down on the Saturday. However, the organisation itself, like the collective who did the exhibition, very much did not understand. I don't think they understand the magnitude of what they'd done. They hadn't asked my permission to use my image as part of the advertisement. They hadn't kind of like fully briefed their photographer, obviously, because the photographer was under the impression that it was just about female photographers. So I was like, that's why I was originally okay with it. But then obviously they'd kind of either changed their mind, there was some kind of miscommunication that had gone on. But yeah, it was handled very, very badly by this team. And luckily, I've got so many friends on Twitter like you who managed to come to my defense and kind of like tell them off basically and teach them a lesson. But I was like, as soon as this person had messaged me, I was like, no, actually, I need to make a statement because it needs to happen, and it needs to happen publicly because people need to know that they can make a statement and that they can know that they can speak out. Exactly. And if it does ever happen again, then it can just be linked back to that, and it can be made, we can follow the same strategy because obviously it worked. We didn't quite get the apology that we wanted. The organisation very much didn't. They didn't reach out personally. They didn't quote the right tweet when they were trying to apologise. Like they quoted the wrong tweet from within a thread somewhere. And it was very much like all hush hush, brushed under the carpet as much as possible. Luckily, like the tour organisation had pulled everything down on the Saturday because this all happened Friday night, so it was like nearing midnight by the time everything properly kicked off. So it was kind of like we were all exhausted trying to just mentally deal with what was going on. And so yeah, it was very, very lucky that that person was where they were, and they managed to use their influence to help stop what would have been a very public misgendering, because there was also an event on that same week that I would have attended had that not happened. So yeah, it was kind of, hopefully, like, the only way I'm dealing with it is kind of treating it as a learning curve, and treating it as, hopefully that organisation will learn that they need to be like on it with their social media, because they very much were not, as well as like on it with how they approach their advertisement and how they learn from that. So yeah. that kind of happened February. It happened towards the end of February into March. But yeah, it was a lot.
It was, because I remember you messaged me and told me about it, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm really angry, so I'm just gonna go off and rant on Twitter, and it might have been a bit much, but you know what?
It was needed.
If a friend of mine gets misgendered, and also
Literally.
publicly, and also because the company was being like really ignorant and really like shitty with their like replies and stuff, like I was just like, I'm not gonna take it. So I went off on Twitter. Me and Rudy went off on Twitter.
Yeah, really did. It was great. It was amazing.
Yeah. And a couple of my mutuals joined in, and it was just like it was nice to come together, like have like a thing.
Yeah, and I think it was because like that was before everything had happened. That was like a
Yeah,
month. It was a month and a half ago. But it just showed because it's like we've kind of almost never been able to publicly and like properly meet together, and just to have that like online presence of like knowing that we're all there for each other and knowing
yeah,
that we're all together even though we're not. And it's just that was really lovely to just feel and experience and like
yeah.
look out for each other.
Well, I had a similar experience
Yeah.
a couple of days ago. I don't know if you saw
Oh,
it. Um,
yes.
yeah. So a newspaper, or I don't even know what it's called, an
Mm,
outlet or something, some random. I'm not gonna refer to them
yeah.
because they'll just want the attention.
Yeah.
But basically, I've been playing Animal Crossing non-stop because I think that's what everyone is doing if
Yeah.
they have it. Um, it came out on the 20th. I have more than like 70 or 85 hours playtime. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned it, but I've been playing it non-stop and it's a nice wholesome game. It's like positive, like when you're feeling sad and you play
Mm,
it, it's really cool. And it
yeah.
has this feature in the game where you can create custom designs. So I was like, oh, it'd be really cute if I could do like a trans flag and a non-binary flag together,
Yeah.
write trans rights on it, because like
Mhm.
it's cute.
Yeah.
Because a good thing about the game is it doesn't gender, like
Yeah.
you can pick whatever preference you want. Nothing's gendered, like all the villagers refer to you by they them pronouns. It's like it's really nice and wholesome.
Mhm.
So you can also take screenshots and record
Mhm.
videos of your screen. So I was like, oh, it'd be cute if my character just like I just did a little photo of my character next to the signs, and then I put it up on not Facebook, Twitter, and just share it because it's like cute and stuff because everyone else is doing that. So I shared that, and a couple days ago, a mutual of mine tweeted me and was like, "Oh, did you know that your trans rights like custom design photo from Animal Crossing is being used for like transphobia?" And I was like, "You what?" And I read the article, and it was basically like, LGBT activists have been pressuring Animal Crossing to make things like like not gendered and stuff, and like even reading the article, it's
Yeah.
blatant transphobia.
Yeah.
So instantly I was like, I don't want that being used. Like it's not I don't know anything to do with copyright or
Mm.
permissions and stuff because it's a thing within a game. But
Yeah.
in that it doesn't matter about that. It's the fact that I didn't want my photo to be used.
Yeah.
And like, imagine if someone had come across it, being like, "Oh, has Leo like given them permission to use
Yeah.
the photo for
Yeah.
transphobia?" So obviously I did not want something that I'd made to be connected to something like that. So I politely tweeted the article and I was just like, "Can you please remove this?" And that was it. And a couple of hours later they tweeted me back and said no, um, which was really immature. And I was just like, well, I asked politely. So,
Yeah.
I asked once, like a couple of my mutuals messaged them and asked them to take it down. They kept saying no. So I did what anyone does and like use their voice and use their following, and I quoted it and I said, please retweet this to get it put down and
Mhm.
like maybe report the tweet. Never said anything about filing a DMCA copyright or anything like that. Other people
Yeah.
did suggest that, but I was just like, my mental health is not in the mood
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
focus on that sort of thing. I just want to take it down and that's it.
Mm.
And a lot of people did come to my defense and retweeted it and everything else. But just the way that it was dealt with, loads of people were like,
Yeah.
oh, well, why didn't you just ask politely? Well, I did,
Yeah.
but they got refused. So in the end, I deactivated my Twitter for a day and I put myself on private because I
Yeah.
just don't have the mental capacity or the spoons
It
to
is. Yeah.
deal with that sort of thing
Mhm.
because it's the biggest problem I have is just that I created something wholesome and positive
Mm. It's
and
that. Yeah.
it's being
It's
used
how
for
it's been
negativity.
twisted.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not fun, and it is that thing of like, um, you've got your own right to privacy. You've got your own right to like have your own content used how you want it to be used, and like it's that you'd hope that people would see the best of it, but obviously there's those people in the world who don't, and the people in the world who are just like, fuck it, we'll take this thing and we'll use it to further our own agenda. And it's just it's just shit. It's the reason why I didn't see it is because I've been avoiding Twitter.
Yeah.
I've not been on Twitter just because of like it's one of the platforms at the minute that is like there's some things where it's like I see my friends and it's like that's great, but again it's so toxic, and
It
at the
is.
minute it's just like it's like a negativity pile, and it's
It's a
just like
cesspool of
it
negativity.
is. It's a cesspool of negativity, and it's especially at this time when it's like you're trying to like educate yourself how you want to, and you're trying to have control over what you see and what you consume. You've then got people who you follow, and like there's some people that I follow so that I can keep an eye on them. Some people that I follow, like I follow fandom people, and then I follow like real life people, and so that you've got that line that blurs, and then it's like actually this person. Obviously, I don't know them because I follow them for fandom reasons. It's then like you're then realizing that actually these people don't think in the same way that I think in, and as
Yeah.
well like you kind of then realize that you are it's like as much as we try and have friends who think along the same wavelines and think along that, you're then like actually I don't live in a bubble, and I am going to be exposed to things that I don't really want to see,
Yeah.
and like the only way at the minute, because I don't have the time or the energy to physically go through like people who I follow and like analyze their profiles and be like, oh, do I like you, do I not, is to just limit my time off the platform.
Yeah.
It's like it's a great platform for um, reaching out to people because I follow a lot of people and I have a lot of followers and a lot of mutuals, and we've got like wide reach. But again, it's that kind of
Yeah.
thing of like that's the only reason why I'm using it at the minute, is to just get word out and to spread positivity, because it is the only time that I can use that platform right now.
Exactly. Like I mainly go on there to talk to the rest of
Mhm.
like the trans community and stuff, because
Absolutely,
otherwise
yeah.
I wouldn't have that
Yeah,
connection in real life, especially with everything going on.
yeah,
But on the other hand, something that can be wholesome and like spreads positivity can be twisted,
yeah,
and like it can create negativity, and sometimes it's just too toxic to be on there
yeah,
24/7.
yeah.
So
It's a lot, yeah. Instagram is somehow it's kind of been a positive experience for me, Instagram. So it's like I managed to stay on Instagram. Again, I think Facebook. I try and use Messenger more than Facebook. So it's like that's another one at the minute that's being like just getting a lot of notifications of people like putting stuff into groups. Like I'm just like, come on, just chill out. Like take some time. Like
yeah.
and just look after yourselves, and a lot of YouTube, like rewatching stuff that's wholesome and nice. I'm rewatching a lot of Julian Solomita and Jenna Marbles' stuff at the minute, purely because dogs and food and like just good vibes is what I need right now.
Oh yeah. Yes,
But yeah,
beach.
yes, beach. And yeah, I think their content
Oh,
uh, is some pretty good stuff at the minute
Julian's
as well.
cooking
Oh
videos.
my God, yes.
Like
Just so good.
the
Just
thing is,
so good.
the funny thing is, right? Um, so I'm a Virgo and Ruth is a an Aries. So obviously Julian is an Aries and Jenna is a Virgo. It's weird because I have the personality of Julian and
Yeah.
Ruth has the personality of Jenna, but I'm a Virgo and she's an Aries. So it's kind of it's the other way around. So like it's
Oh
Virgo
my
season
God, yes.
basically, and Ruth is the
Oh
like
my
calm
God.
Aries.
Yeah.
So like that's how our relationship is essentially. But yes, Julian's cooking videos,
Yeah.
as chaotic as they are, they're
They're
fucking
also
hilarious
really chill.
and really chill.
Yeah.
Like like
It's hilarious. Like a lot of their content is swapped. So a lot of Jenna's like content is really hyper, like really energetic, and she's the chillest person. And then Julian's content is really chill, like a lot of the time. Um, watch the dog vlogs. The dog vlogs are great.
yeah.
But yeah, it's whew, it's some good stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and then like a lot of the theatre that's being released for free.
Yes.
Um, and like I think that's kind of a saving grace right now, is a lot of the content that's being released, um, as well as like Netflix and um, that's the only one I use. I usually torrent
Yeah,
most of my other
they
stuff.
have released all the Studio Ghibli films on Netflix
Oh
now.
wow!
So I've been watching like My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's
Yes.
Delivery Service, like all my faves, like they're all on there. So like
Cute. But
it's the best.
yeah, a lot of that's hella cute. But
Yeah.
yeah, then it's like just looking forward and planning and um taking this week. I'm very much like taking this week off and trying not to do so much, try not to get in my head too much. And like just colouring and playing games and like
Awesome.
there's a really like wholesome game. It's like Dots and Co. It's just like it's like a puzzle game on your phone. You just like match up the dots and it's really cute and wholesome and the music is great. So I'm like living off that and like Sudoku at the minute. And lots of cups of tea. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's surviving that way and keeping chatting to friends and keeping on like
Yeah.
keeping on basically like
I think the only thing left for me to talk about is in February I went to a queer prom and it was the best.
nice.
My university was doing LGBT History Month events, and I hadn't been to prom since 2014, I think it was, and
Yeah.
that was before my transition. So in my prom photos from back then, I had
Yeah.
long hair, I was wearing a dress. My mum had made me get a fake tan for some reason.
God.
Um, so yeah, I was identifying as a cis
Mm,
woman then. So looking back on those photos makes me cringe. So as
yeah.
soon as I heard that there was a prom going on at my university, I was like, we have to go. Like
Yeah.
I have to like put an outfit together that's like amazing and then do like a side by side
Yes.
comparison of that horrible
Yeah.
like past and like me now. So I wore like the shirt. I wore like some nice smart trousers, some
Yes.
suspenders. My hair was all nice. I had one earring in. I got my inspiration from a character from Pride. Um,
Nice.
so like the outfits, the 80s outfits from there. So it was an amazing night. It was gay music. I was with my partner, I was with my friends, and like it was just a really wholesome evening. And like
Nice.
it was just nice to go to a prom that
Yeah.
specifically for like our community and not just like
Yeah.
random people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that
That's
was,
hella cool.
yeah, I think I got
Yeah.
so drunk that I started voguing
Ooh.
the dance floor, even though I can't dance. So that was fun. But
Nice. But
it's,
yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, and then I think one of my other big things is January. I wrote kind of like my first proper show because I've written a couple of shows and they've just not been what I wanted. But I wrote my first proper show, and it was called Decay. And it was like it's a series of letters to my younger self. Um, and that was like it took me forever to arrive on like what the play was because obviously we'd been tasked with it before Christmas. So I was then like spending the entirety of like Christmas and January like planning this one idea, and then that idea kind of got shut down obviously for like logistic reasons, which was like that's fair because it would have been a lot anyway. So I'm kind of glad that it pushed me in this direction. So yeah, I wrote a series of letters to my younger self, and I also wore a skirt for the first time.
I know. Oh my God.
I think it was the first time since like 2014, 2015. Um, and it was like one of the letters was like, Decay, you wore a skirt for the first time and the world didn't end. And it was it yeah, it was like looking at the process of um transition and looking at the process of coming out and coming into yourself, and um a lot of the words that I used was like embrace it, and that's kind of something that I started like as soon as I found the word queer. I think a lot of doors opened up and a lot of
Same.
experimentation opened up, and I was like, yeah, paint your nails whilst you're wearing a suit and rock it,
Yeah.
and like looking at experimentation and looking at kind of how you navigate those spaces, but also how you make that accessible for an audience that very much isn't queer. So it's finding those moments in your life where you're like, yeah, everybody's done this. Like, you've had a bad date, or you've just like made a fool of yourself, or you've thought about this, or you've wondered that, or you've tried something on, and it's finding those moments of like connection. And I think that was the most fun of that process, and like recording it and listening to, discovering a lot of queer artists as well. Like, I was listening to a lot of music throughout the process, and like properly listening to the song like True Trans Soul Rebel, and like one of the theme songs from Sex Ed is done by a gender neutral artist.
Wow.
Like I Want You So Bad, I think it's like, I want you so bad, like that theme song. That's by a gender non-conforming artist. And like listening to all of those songs and getting into that mode of writing, but also then discovering the stuff that I'm not yet ready to write.
Yeah.
Because I had like, I'd narrowed it down to like 12 sections and 12 moments, and some of the letters had moments that have bigger letters in, so basically the letters interconnect a lot of the times, and some of them I'm very much not ready to write, and that was part of the process as well, is like discovering what I was ready to write and what I wasn't. And some of the stuff that I'd written in previous shows that I was like still very much dealing with. Like, there was a show called Tightrope, and it was very much about like some transphobia that I'd experienced from like a family member. And it was then realizing that during the making of that show, I was very much not okay with making that show. And then coming into this show and being like, actually, I am okay with this now. I've dealt with it in the way that I've needed to deal with it. And kind of just use that then as a stepping stone, and use it then to kind of move me forward. It was like a really like illuminating experience, as well as like doing it at the same time that a lot of other people were writing shows. So there's like 15 of us on our MA course, and so we were all then making our own content and making our own shows, and some were really personal like mine, and some were not. And it was then like just looking at the work that people were creating, and I think that's one of the things that I'm going to be sad about in
Yeah.
like the upcoming few months, is the fact that like we will still hopefully see some of the shows, because some people have said they will share them online. They will do like online shows. They will do like shows via Zoom. They'll do shows like over Skype, and it's just that kind of the loss of that live moment, and like the moments of that settle of the audience, and then the rapturous applause is that's what's going to be missed.
Yeah.
And it's just waiting until we can do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
I think that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah.
But message to people listening, stay fucking home.
Yeah, please stay at home if you can.
Wash your hands.
Wash your
Dirty
hands.
pig.
Wash your hands, as Eric says. But yeah, I think yeah, stay at home if you can. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. If you are a key worker, claps to you. Absolute claps to you if you are a key worker.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, take care of other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it.
And also, if you're watching, you are valid.
You are absolutely valid.
Especially for trans and non-binary people who are having to be stuck home with parents who misgender them or transphobic. Know that me and Kay love you, and you're
we love
valid.
you so much.
And if you ever need anyone, you can message either of us, and we'll be there for you if we can.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be continuing to share resources on the Twitter page as well. So if you do follow us, make sure that you do, and keep an eye on that page. We'll try and share with you as much as we can.
And record as much as we can.
Yeah, as well. Record as much as we can in this time being.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure that you stay safe. And wash your hands.
Yeah. I think our next episode is going to be about representation of trans people
Yeah.
in the media / the news and stuff, which is going to be quite deep. So if you don't feel like listening to something that's might potentially be triggering or negative, then maybe that won't be the podcast for you to listen. But I'm pretty sure we'll do one after that that's going to be a bit more light-hearted /
Yeah,
upbeat.
absolutely. We'll let you
So
know what's going on. We'll let you know what kind of trigger warnings are going to come if we
yeah.
need that. But yeah, we will let you know. So, yes. So this has been the Non-Trinary Podcast. My name is Kay. I use they them pronouns.
My name is Leo. I use he him pronouns.
And thank you for listening
Thank
/ watching.
Bye.
Bye.